Hello, I'm Audrey.
I'm Laura.
And I'm Rebecca, and today we'll be talking about EdTPA Task 3, which is Assessing Student Literacy Learning. This task is for the early childhood education portion of the EdTPA. We hope that the information provided will help you through your journey when completing EdTPA.
So the first section is, what do I need to do? So for Task 3, you are going to select one assessment from your learning segment to evaluate students' knowledge and skills. And this needs to be individuals and not groups of students. Next, you're going to define and submit evaluation criteria.
An example of this would be to submit a rubric that you created for your activity.
Next, you're going to collect and analyze student work to identify patterns of learning.
A way to do this is to look at how the students did on their assessment and see what problems maybe all of them missed or which problems all of them got correct.
And then you're going to select 3 student work samples that represents this pattern of learning, and these will be your focus students. So you have to have one student with specific learning needs within that 3.
An example of a learning need could be a student who's an English language learner or a student with some kind of academic accommodation.
Next, you will need to document the feedback that you gave to each of the 3 focus students.
If you cannot hear any of the feedback that you are given, you can include a transcript, embedded quotes, or you can insert captions on the video. Be sure to clearly identify your focus students.
And then make sure that you're responding to the prompts listed in the Literacy Assessment Commentary on page 61 in your EdTPA handbook. And then you will include and submit the assessment with directions and prompts on the Literacy Assessment Commentary. And then lastly, you will provide evidence of student learning and use of targeted academic language function and other language demands.
Under What Do I Need to Write portion, you will be writing a commentary responding to the following prompts I'm about to state. First, I would like you to note that your commentary should be no more than 10 single-spaced pages. In addition to that, you should have an assessment that you use to evaluate the students. With that assessment, there should be only an additional 5 pages and no more. The next thing you will have will be your transcript of your video or audio clip feedback. That should be no more than 2 additional pages. So the first thing that you need to look at for What Do I Need to Write will be analyzing student learning. Under this portion, you need to identify specific learning objectives.
And these learning objectives should be directly related to the learning objectives you used while teaching, which should also be addressed through your standards.
The next thing you need to do is provide graphic or narrative that summarizes whole class learning.
Now this could be a table or chart that you've created in Excel or Word.
The next thing you need to do for this section is to use evidence from 3 students, work samples, and whole class summary to analyze patterns of learning. Next, for the second thing you'll be doing will be feedback to guide future learning. Under this, you will need to identify the format you will submit evidence for your 3 focal students.
There are 3 different formats that you can use. The first could be your written feedback that is on any of the work or the student's work. The second is an audio of you giving feedback or a video of you providing feedback.
The next thing you will need to do is explain how the feedback addresses the 3 individual students' needs relative to the learning target. After that, you will need to describe how you will support each focus student to understand this feedback to further their learning related to the learning objective. When you do this, you will need to state whether that learning will be furthered within the lesson segment or at a later time. The third portion is evidence of language understanding use. The first thing under this is, when responding to this prompt, use concrete examples from the video clips and or student work samples as evidence. The video clips are from your Literacy Task 2. Also, student work samples analyzed in Task 3 will be used in this portion, and you need to cite the language that is being used. The second thing you need to do is to explain and provide concrete examples for the extent to which your students were able to use or struggle to use. So 3 portions go under this. There's selected language function, vocab or key phrases, and discourse or syntax. So you need to look at all 3 of those when you're doing the explaining and providing concrete evidence. The fourth thing you need to do is use assessments to inform instruction. So based on your analysis of student learning, describe next steps for instruction to impact student learning. You need to do this for the whole class and for your 3 focus students and or other individual groups you may have had.
This should be where you explain how you're accommodating for all your individuals in your class through differentiating the instruction or differentiating activities.
The last thing you will do is explain how these next steps follow your analysis of student learning. After you have done this, you have completed what you need to write.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our EdTPA training video. If you have any further questions, please refer to your EdTPA handbook. Thanks again.